militancy of radical Islam and the passivity of Barack Obama, he said. There could be a renegade group of generals who plan some catastrophic event to stop this madness that has been going on for millennia against the West. And we all know that would lead to Armageddon, which none of us would benefit from, he said. Anyway, you get the picture, right? Now, I want to backtrack for a minute. Democrats gave Barack Obama a black eye. It's the biggest black eye of his life. Now, I got to explain to you, this trade deal was shot down not by the Republicans, but by the liberal Democrat wing. What you should also know is that this was Obama's biggest priority since forcing socialized medicine down our throats, which they did through trickery, telling us we'll learn what's in the bill after they pass it. They did the same thing here. This was shown to congressmen and congresswomen only in secret, only in the basement. They were not allowed to take notes out. It's like something out of a bad novel, what this character in the White House has done to this country. He has brought the worst elements of the Stasi to the intelligence community, the worst elements of gangsters in the ex-Soviet Union to the White House itself. But he's such a smooth con man that many of you still think he's a wonderful, kind, loving man. His own party said no to him today. And those trying to bail the president out from this great defeat are the Republican Party. The Republicans are trying to bail out President Obama from a trade deal that would, let us say, gut American industry and American jobs to an extent that we'd never recover from. And what's interesting here is that Senate Democrats announced today that they're going to vote to block a debate on fast-track legislation. Now, much of this is gobbledygook to the average American. You don't know what's really going on. But Obama's trying to sell out the last remnants of American industry, American workers. It's so bad, the guy is such a traitor, that his own party turned on him. Every free trade deal that the U.S. has signed has brought about an increased trade deficit and hundreds of thousands of lost American jobs. Every single free trade deal, NAFTA, GAFTA, GATT, WTO, and now this one. It's beyond belief that as a conservative American, I want to thank all the Democrats, including the most liberal of them, who got together to block this dangerous bill. This TPP Asia trade bill is a nightmare. How many jobs would be gutted? Nobody really knows. But if Obama's for it, it must be bad for America. That's all I know. If Obama is for it and his own party's left wing is against it, you can just imagine how far he's gone to the left. And what's funny about this is that as a nationalist, I cannot believe that it took Democrats, liberal Democrats, to defeat even a debate on the bill. Now, what is the bill about? I'm only going to give it a short version. The bill would give President Obama the authority to bring forward a trade bill in the future upon which Congress could either vote yes or no, but they could not amend it. In other words, it would give him total power over future trade. And for whatever the reasons are, it's the left wing in the Democrat Party that said no to even debating it. Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat, no. Opposition. Maria Cantwell, as left as they come, no. Dianne Feinstein, no. Claire McCaskill, left-wing fanatic, no. Patty Murray, never saw a communist manifesto she didn't want to frame in the White House, no. Bill Nelson, Democrat, fanatic leftist, no. Mark Warner, no. The Senate needs 60 votes to begin a debate on fast-track authority. They said no. Now, the spokesmouth for Obama, Josh Ernst, the mini Goebbels of our time, said that it was only a procedural snafu that blocked the vote. But the rest of it will be boring to you. I get it. I just wanted to give you the news, by the way. There is big news out there. The poll shows those in the U.S. drifting away from religion, which is an interesting story. The number of adults who self-identified as Christian fell from 78% to 70%, driven mainly by drops among Roman Catholics and some Protestants, according to the stinking Pew Research Center poll. Non-religious U.S. adults who identify as atheist, agnostic, or of no particular faith have seen their ranks swell over that same time period by 6% points to 22.8, or 56 million people. In other words, Religion is dying in America somewhat. So I'm going to ask those of you under 30, because if I say, have you left the church? Most of my audience are older people. You'll say, no, I haven't. I go every Sunday. Please don't call if you're over 30. I want to know why the so-called millennials have given up on religion. That's an interesting question. And if you're under 30 and you're no longer religious, please tell, and I don't care what your religion is, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, Muslim, because I can guarantee you as I speak to you on this show today that even young Muslims are not faithful anymore. So you don't understand what's going on. This may not be as bad as it seems. I want to move on if I can, but I know many of you are so agitated with the questions I raised. It's only the beginning of graduation season. I can't wait till that dingbat Nancy Pelosi speaks again. And after she almost burnt Oakland to the ground by telling them to be, what was the word again? I keep forgetting the word. Disruptors. Dummy, be a disruptor. You hear? They almost burnt Oakland to the ground a week ago. The loser bums on the bottom. The hordes, the mobs of nobodies. Wasn't bad enough what happened in Baltimore. She's going to get up now and wants more. Instead of bringing the people together, instead of saying what happened in Baltimore was terrible, let justice take its course. Instead of telling the kids at Tuskegee to go out there because they've never had a greater opportunity in the history of Africans in America. There's never been a greater opportunity for Africans in America than today. Look at me. Look at my husband. Look how far we've come, because this is not a racist nation. And you can go as far as your talents and your wishes will take you. That's what she should have said. Instead, once again, she wraps herself in the victim. What if we had the first Jewish president? I don't know who. I'm going to make some, I don't know who. What if a day comes we have the first Jewish president, and the Jewish first lady gets up there and she starts complaining again about being Jewish and being picked on, and that people don't like her because of her mother's accent or whatever. How would the nation react to a Jewish first lady saying the same things, like I was subject to another set of questions? Or am I too loud or too angry or too emasculating? And what would America say to a thing like that? And what when we have our first Hispanic president, if there's an Hispanic first lady who's as low class as her, who gets up there and starts talking again about racism when she's first lady? Ipso facto, if there was such bad racism, she wouldn't be first lady, would she? Since whites make up 68 or more percent of the population, by definition, the nation has no racism left in it, except from her maybe, and her cohorts, who are steaming up everybody in the country. Everywhere you turn, all they want to do is turn everyone against each other. Anyway, you get the picture. It's kind of repugnant. What I want to do now is talk about something positive. My new novel, Countdown to Mecca, because it's out. I worked very hard on it. It's the last in the series. Many of you bought the previous editions of A Time for War and Abuse of Power. It's a thriller. It's a novel. It's power fiction tinged with terrorism and intrigue, with an old-school rough-and-tumble journalist as its hero. A thriller sure to score a bullseye with its target audience, said Publishers Weekly, of the earlier one. A fast-paced international thriller whose story spans the globe. Dr. Savage has hit a home run with Abuse of Power. The story grips the reader and delivers the goods. Free Republic. They love my first two. So I think this one is the best and the last. This is not a boring nonfiction book. This is meant for people to pick up and read and enjoy reading it. What a movie this would make. I mean, let's be clear. I'm boycotted in Hollywood, right? They should have made a movie a long time ago out of A Time for War. It's dramatic. It's set in San Francisco. It's got every element. Sex, romance, excitement, terrorism. I guess Katzenberg, Matzenberg, and Ratzenberg wouldn't touch it for obvious political reasons. So this book reads like a movie script. For those people who like action, Countdown to Mecca is it. I can't tell what anyone's legacy is going to be in our crazed, debased, degenerate society. Take a look at who's running the media. What does legacy mean when you have degenerates running the media? What does a legacy mean when you have anti-Americans running the media? What does it mean when you have a pope who says things that make Fidel Castro say he'll go back to church? The world has been turned upside down by the most demonic president imaginable. Be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I, Michael Savage, trust to buy my gold and silver from. SwissAmerica.com. The amazing shrinking president is not only physically disappearing, but he has politically disappeared as well. His left wing has basically defeated him on the trade bill. It actually wasn't the trade bill per se. It was a debate about whether to go to the trade bill on a vote. And the left wing said no to him on this secret, sneaky anti-jobs bill. And the only people trying to save it are Mitch McConnell and Orrin Hatch, the same people, by the way, who gave us the likes of Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the United States Supreme Court. Same people who gave us Loretta Lynch are now trying to give us a trade bill with China that would kill jobs and industries. So there it is. Now the White House is putting the spin on it, saying that this defeat was only a procedural snafu, etc. But the fact is, this was the biggest loss in Obama's political career. My only wish would be that the same coalition would get together to put a stop to the flood of illegal aliens coming into America and take a close look at the type of immigrants that Obama has prioritized into the United States of America to remake it in his own image. That is largely not white. You know, one of these days I'm going to do a show on the European American contributions to civilization, particularly our society and our civilization. I am so sick of listening to this rubbish about the white male and the white race and white privilege that I'm going to do a whole show, an entire show. I've done it before, by the way, on white male inventions, which was immediately ignored by the media. But the fact of the matter is, I'm sick of listening to this garbage. And if I'm going to hear shows about African American, Asian American, Indian American, this American, well, what's wrong with doing a show on European Americans and their contributions to civilization, especially ours? But I want to turn to this European American's contributions to civilization, Michael Savage, since I come from people who came from Europe, and I'm an American, I'm a European American. And I've contributed a number of books, broadcasts. I've rescued some rainforests. I've done some scientific research that will last for centuries, by the way. The collections are in museums around the world. I never talk about it, but you'll find that it's true. And today I want to talk about a novel called Countdown to Mecca, which is launched today in the bookstores after long last. I've been waiting for it to come out for months now with all the news about Islam and this and that. I thought it should have been out a month ago. So what I've done is something I've never done before. I have 2 more chapters to go. I said that I would read the first 2 pages of each of the first 5 chapters today. And then maybe the next time I'm on the radio, I'll read the next 2 pages of the first 5 chapters for a couple of days to see what you think of it. And then I'm asking you if you can find the book in the bookstores. We're getting one report after another of the bookstores not having the book. Once again, Michael Savage is banned from bookstores. Once again, there's a blacklist. Once again, there's subterfuge. Once again, there's sabotage. And then we're talking about a political topic, which is a poll showing those in the United States drifting away from religion. Now, since this was done by the Pew Group, I don't really trust it that much, but it says the number of people identifying as Christians went down from 78% to 70% from 07 to 014. Okay. Those identified as Jewish rose 0.2%. Now, how can you figure that out? While those identifying as Muslim more than doubled to 0.9%. No kidding. Those identified as Hindus rose slightly to 0.7%. Thank God for that. I love Indian food. The more curry joints, the better. And of course, that's not what the Indians are bringing anymore. They're tech workers, so guys like Zuckerberg can make more billions, and Microsoft, Mr. Nice Guy, can pocket even more money. And the number of Buddhists was unchanged at 0.7%. The poll surveyed roughly 35,000 adults across the U.S. between June and September by telephone. By telephone. Excuse me, by telephone? Hello? Who is it? I'm with the Pew poll. Drop dead and you hang up. What do you mean by telephone? They don't even use cell phones? They call landlines on a poll and they think this is an accurate survey? All right, hold it a minute. Beyond belief.
Savage.